Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Trenny and C, except it's minus C this time. We are starting to do some solo reviews. We are throwing in a new video per week on Mondays. C was the first week, and I am now the second week. He is primarily focusing on Canadian whiskeys and bourbons, where I'm going to focus on scotches. So the reason we're doing this, it's not Trenny and C going through some marital issues or a breakup of any kind. It's we've noticed on our Thursday night videos, we tend to do lots of comparison videos and blind tastings and what's the best this and what's the best that and top tens and all sorts of things like that. Kind of fun videos. And then Saturdays we've been doing a lot of unboxings, which is great because we do give plenty of tasting notes. But as most whiskey enthusiasts know, first impressions, even if they're good, it does change in the bottle as the bottle goes down. So this is our chance to get to review some of those bottles that we have hanging around on the shelf that we have not had a chance to review in. And our shelves are starting to burst at the seams. We got to get some of these reviewed and move somewhere else. Anyway, so my first one is going to be Laphroaig Select. Okay, that is a banger. This one is a peated whiskey from Islay from the distillery Laphroaig. For those peat heads out there, it is something that I think will satisfy the craving, but may not give you everything that you're looking for. And I'll go into reasons for that in a bit. So first of all, I'm just going to pour a little glass. Let it open up a little bit. As you can see, this bottle is gone down significantly. We were given this bottle by Michelle Tucker at last year's Cowichan Valley Whiskey Festival. So thank you to Michelle Tucker. We've gotten lots of use out of this one and enjoyed it. Absolutely. So one of the characteristics about this is that it is non-age statement. So a lot of distilleries are doing that lately, claiming that there's been such a huge enthusiasm for Scotch that they're running out of their stocks. I don't personally buy it, but that could be true. So they are getting away from some of the age statements and putting younger whiskeys into their bottle and calling it like something like Select, or Macallan has been doing it with like the gold and the amber and different things like that, and Highland Park with their Valkyrie series and Viking series. So there are interesting expressions from different distilleries coming out, but sometimes with a heavy price tag attached to it for no age statement. So this one is actually relatively well priced. It's still in about the $70 range, which isn't, amazing, but I guess for a single malt, that's pretty much as cheap as you're going to get. One of the good features of this guy is that it is natural color. It's only bottled at 40%. The price is okay. There's no mention of non-chill filtration on here, but aged in ex-bourbon barrels, so it has some kind of different characteristics. So let's get right into the color and the nose and the taste and the finish and the viscosity. I am not going to be scoring these up. I'm just going to kind of give you notes as I go. I did write some down a while back, so let's see if it still remains true. The color is a nice golden, kind of a light color. So it actually looks like it has a bit more cask influence in it than you would be led to believe. Because some of these ones that have no age statement, they may have higher years of year-aged whiskey in the bottle and in the barrel, but they also might have really young ones. And legally, the age statement has to reflect the youngest whiskey in the bottle. So they're not going to name this Laphroaig 4-year-old or whatever. They're going to call it something different, like Select. Okay, let's get right to it. On the nose. It is that classic Laphroaig style peat. Medicine cabinet. Lots of kind of like that iodine Band-Aid-ish sort of smell. Slightly plasticky. definitely missing that dollop of honey and toffee and the things that make Laphroaig so desirable. But for people on a budget that are peat heads and they need to get that, they crave the peat, it's there. The peat, there's a little bit of that campfire smoke, a little bit of that ozone, kind of like when it's about to snow kind of a smell. Yeah, young. It's a little young on the nose. It's definitely missing some of those sweetnesses. There is a mild sweetness. It almost smells sort of grainy. There's some herbal notes in there. Almost a little bit of white pepper on the nose. There's some good things going on in there. It's definitely missing character though. There's not as much depth to the nose as say like the quarter cask or even some of the Laphroaigs that are bottled at just a little bit higher of a percentage. This one would shine a little bit more if it was a higher percentage for sure. Okay. There is actually like a light kind of like almost clove note to it, which is kind of reminiscent in some bourbons. So I'm thinking this is. I'm not 100% sure actually. Now that I think about it. Anyways, let's get on to the flavor. The sweetness is more forward on the flavor. Right up front, there's like that vegetal herbal kind of note, almost like a sweetness from like a green pepper. It's quite grainy, a little bit chalky. I guess that would be more in the finish. It's soft. There's a soft sweetness to it. It's quite nice. Let's just let that settle for a second. I think, again, like I said, some of these peated whiskeys and people craving them, this at least will give the people that really crave a peat that the Laphroaig characteristics are there. It just doesn't have a lot of depth going on. It could use a couple percentage points for sure. It's a bit of like an asphalt charcoal kind of thing. Little almost like hickory barbecue sauce. This would actually probably pour that into making your own barbecue sauce and be pretty killer, I bet. Now on the finish, it has that classic thing that peat does. It's not something that you can just go and go to work, in the morning and not brush your teeth because it will still be there. That peat reek, the smoke. It's almost like when you have smoke on your clothes from sitting in front of a campfire. That's what your mouth kind of tastes like. Like I haven't had a sip for a good 30 seconds now, and it is still going. So the peat has a long finish. The spirit itself finishes relatively swiftly. So it's kind of that balance where it's not that the whiskey has been made poorly or anything like that, but in this case, I would say the peat is there to cover up an inferior product to the regular Laphroaigs that have been put out. It's still quite good. I think if you are on a budget and you are craving it, go and get yourself a bottle. Especially in the United States, I'm sure you can get this in for much cheaper. But around here in British Columbia, it's still around the $70, $75 mark, which isn't terrible, but it's not great either. So I think I'm not going to give too many more details. This is the first review. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Trenny. I will be with C every Thursday and Saturday, so don't worry, guys. We're still kicking it old school. I think if I was to rate a whiskey, I told you I wasn't going to do that, but this is a solid 7 out of 10, I would say. Not bad, not terrible. Would I purchase it again? I'm not sure. Probably not. There's a lot better ones out there. Actually, the Laphroaig quarter cask, which is not much more expensive, I think has a lot more character. The sweetness and the toffee and the things that make Laphroaig so desirable are all there. And it's 48% alcohol, natural color, non-chill filtered. So that is saying quite a bit. So I think the people that make their voices heard, we want Laphroaig to continue to put out really, really good products. Don't cheap out and don't, screw over your faithful consumers, because there are some really faithful Laphroaig people out there. And, let's keep the good whiskey flowing, guys. All right. Cheers. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you next time.
Trenny and C, drinking whiskey, describing all the flavors for you and me. Irish, Scotch, bourbon and rye. If they like a bottle, they'll tell you why. Subscribe on YouTube.